Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? Beautiful. Okay. I'm ready and I'm listening. Awesome. Hello, hello. Hello, Tamara. Hi, Jody. Hi, Sharon. Hi, April. Another April. How's everybody doing this afternoon? Evening, not afternoon. As you come in, tell me what you're drinking. I'm drinking water. Hello, hello. Just gonna let just a few minutes. I'm doing great, thank you. Um, it is. I can't believe it's already the 10th of June. Like we're already in week 2 of June, and I feel like time is going by too fast. Somebody's drinking red wine. Tamara's drinking red wine. Yummy. Water. Drinking cranberry juice. Yummy. I'm just drinking Ozarka. Just my Ozarka right now. I'm guzzling water. Yeah, I'm definitely behind my water intake this today. So drinking this late at night, I'll be up all night. Coke, a Coke and a smile. For those who are old enough to remember. All right, we've got a good no water this time. I was thinking that April. You usually have water when you join. Hi, Santina. Nice to have you on, April. Sassy Tate. Nice to have you on. There's another April in the group. April. I saw her. April. April. Who is it? April Rogers. There's another April. April Rogers. Meet April Tate. Love that. 6 ounces of water a day. Wow. Michelle D. That is amazing. We just had a book club meeting yesterday, and one of our members is trying to get to a gallon a day, and she drinks half a gallon already. So I used to drink a gallon. I'm a water drinker, so I'm gonna get back up to a gallon. Hey, Larissa, nice to have you on. Okay, well, let's get started because, I have made a commitment to myself to do better with ending right in an hour and not keeping you guys longer than an hour. So thank you for your time today. Thank you for joining. We have a hot topic today. So let's just dive in. Yes, so the Aprils have met. I love to connect people. Hey, Amy, nice to have you on. So for those who watch us in the replay, do not forget to push hashtag replay. Super excited for those who are joining us live. My name is Sunday Gardner, and I am your online travel boss. And so let's jump in. So pre-COVID, I want you to put a 1 for yes or a 0 if any of these sound like you. So 1 means yes, it sounds like you, and a 0 means no, it doesn't sound like you. I'm good. All right. You are not charging for planning or designing either fit or group trips. So 1 is yes, that's me. 0 is nope, I'm charging. All right. I want to see any 1s or 0s. So if you are on and you do not charge for planning or designing fit and group trips, put either a 1 or a 0. You are not charging for cancellations. Put a 1 or a 0. 1, Santina, she's not charging. Stacy is charging. That's great. Michelle is not charging. April is charging. This is good. All right. You are not charging for changes in trip information. You have booked and hooked it all, and they come back and say, you know what? You spelled my name incorrectly. Are you charging for that? Right? So I'm seeing a lot of 1s. I'm seeing some 0s. 0s means that you are charging. You are not charging service fees for airline ticket onlys. You are booking airline tickets only, and you're not charging a service fee for that, right? So I'm seeing ones, I'm seeing zeros. You are not charging markups. You get a great deal for being a travel agent or being the superpower that you are, and you are not marking up you're not doing markups, right? So if you're putting ones on these, and this is your life as you know it, what I want to say is all this equals to is you not getting any additional revenue in your business and doing work without compensation. That's what it means. If you answered ones to all of these things, right, or some of these things, that means you're leaving money on the table, right, in your travel business, and you shouldn't be. There's no reason to. Um, so someone puts the only time a number one is a bad thing. The only time, yes, the only time a number one is a bad thing. That's right. I switched it up for you guys. Number one, right? I'm seeing a lot of ones. So this means that you're doing work in your travel business up front with the hopes that they will travel and not getting paid for any of that work. That's what the one means to you in your life, right? So it means you're not making any additional revenue streams in your business, right? And you're leaving that money on the table. That's pretty much what that means. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about agency fees. And I know it's a hot topic, right? Tell me hot if it's hot to you, if that's a hot topic. If you are one and you want to change that to a zero and you want to actually start changing that in your business, put hot topic, right? Because that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to pause just a second because, this popped up in my mind. I saw somebody post a really great article. And then another article I just read, Travel Weekly, just posted this a couple of days ago and said that 50% of people surveyed, and this is travel agents are still not charging, right? So you're not alone. You're in the 50%. I want to be on the other side of that 50%. I don't want to be on the side that's not charging. I want to be on the side that's charging, right? So I see a lot of hot topics. So you guys agree that it's a hot topic that you want to change, right? But I just read this article. It was in Travel Weekly, and it said 50% of the people surveyed are not charging fees. And when I read that last year, I said my whole goal in life is to educate travel professionals to charge a fee. And not only a fee, but a fee that really is worth your time. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. All right. So a lot of ones, no more working for free, sis. You do a lot. That's right. Amen to that. You guys do a lot because what's happening is you're not charging for all these activities, right? You're not charging cancellation fees. You're planning and designing these trips for people so that they have amazing, wonderful times. They, they have a change because they didn't pay attention to the process. They didn't read your email. So you've misspelled their name wrong. Maybe you got their birthday wrong, but you've already booked it and hooked it. So that means you got to get on the phone with your vendor and you got to change everything, right? And that's their omission, not your omission, their omission. You didn't know that you misspelled it. It's their responsibility. You say it in your contract terms and they still miss it and you've got to make those changes, right? So the only thing that you're getting paid for in your travel business currently is the relationship that you have with the supplier. And to me, that's none of your client's business, frankly. The money that your supplier pays you because you picked their resort or their location is a relationship between you and your supplier, right? That's your money for having that relationship and utilizing them. That's your perk for having that relationship. So the revenue that you're leaving on the table because of your relationship, you're relying solely on that commission relationship. That's wasted money. That's wasted revenue. That's opportunity lost. We don't want to do that anymore, right, ladies? You guys don't want to do that anymore. You don't want to leave that revenue on the table. You know what? I know how bad COVID has hit us all, right? COVID has made it, has hit a lot of people who came out of 2019 and said, I'm going to smash 2020, and you guys had trips booked and you had stuff ready to go and you were counting that commission like you were like this, right? And you were just counting all your money and you were ready to go. And then COVID hit and you're like, shit, where is all my money, right? But you know what? I'm here to tell you, that what COVID has done for us in the travel agency has made us even more valuable and needed to the person who was a do it themselves, right? So you don't charge any of these fees, right? So you're sitting on the phone hours with your suppliers, not having been paid already because you designed the trip, selected the trip, you did all the stuff for the trip, you're managing the trip, and you didn't get paid, but you're sitting on the phone for hours and you don't even know if you're getting commission now. You don't know, right? Right? Some of you guys did that as favors to the people that you know, and you weren't going to get commission anyway, and you didn't get any fees, right? So what COVID has taught us is taught most of the do-it-yourselfers is the value of having a travel agent, right? And a travel professional and a travel advocate in their corner. And so what I want to make sure that you guys are clear about as professionals, you should be charging, right? I have people still, I mean, I'm telling you, my mantra is to like tell everybody, like anybody who will listen, who will allow me to get on my soapbox, I will tell you that you should be charging fees. And people will tell me, they'll get in their inbox, get in my inbox, and I'll be talking to them and they'll be like, nope, I don't charge any fees because I want to be competitive. That doesn't set you apart. It doesn't make you competitive. What you're doing is giving away your professional services. I don't know any doctor that gives away their services for free. Now, let me rephrase that. You know, people do stuff pro bono, but that's by choice. That's not by omission. They don't choose to give away their professional services for free by omission. They do it on purpose because it's a particular cause. For those of you who are not charging and you are saying, I don't charge because I'm competitive and I want it to make me stand out from the rest, it doesn't make you stand out from the rest, because those professionals who are charging and they're putting their money in the bank and they're delivering amazing services and they've got amazing clients, their clients don't think any less of them because they charged, right? So why should you not charge because you think it's going to give you a competitive edge? No professional besides travel agents now don't charge for their services, right? Professionals, because that's what you are. You have to get in relationship with your suppliers. You have to take training with your suppliers. I mean, the amount of training that I've seen people posting in terms of certifications that they've gotten, you know, the training that the suppliers make you get, staying on top of all of the different countries and their idiosyncrasies and requirements for us to now travel to those countries, right? Not to mention the travel stipulations that you have to stay on top of in America to get your people out of the country, right? That's all because you're a professional. Now, let me tell you this, you cannot charge fees and you can still get sued, right? Because you've done an error or somebody has found grounds to sue you. Just because you don't charge fees doesn't mean that you're not liable. So why not charge, right? I don't see the rationale for not charging. Now, I can understand if you're scared, you don't know how, that still is something that we can address. But if you're making a conscious effort not to charge fees because you think it's going to make you stand out from the rest, or you're fearful because you don't have the experience, right? That's not a reason. So this is what today is about, is to get rid of that fear, get rid of that, you know, it's a competitive edge, because it's not, right? Successful six-figure travel agencies are charging fees. Frankly, Expedia.com charges fees, right? I mean, you look at if you've ever used any of the online travel sites, there's a service fee pretty much on every single thing that you do, right? That's their way of collecting their additional revenue stream for doing that service for you, right? And it's an online service. They're charging fees. Why wouldn't you? Right? So hopefully I've made my point, right? So I'll get off the soapbox and I'll move on. So let's talk about, I wrote in my notes, right, that I wanted to tell you is charging fees does not make you competitive, nor does it make you not stand out. All it just means is that you're not getting paid. And I mean that like from the bottom of my heart. All it means is you're not getting paid for services that you are delivering that you should get paid for, right? You define your business and you get to define how much that is worth to you, the services that you deliver, how much that's worth, right? And if you attract people who aren't willing to pay them, then you're not attracting the right person, right? Frankly, there's 2 billion people who are on Facebook monthly, not in the world. That's just on Facebook book monthly, right? And if somebody says they don't want to pay my fee, I'm like, okay, thank you. Have a nice day. Next. Somebody else you will attract who is your right client, who will pay for you to design an amazing experience for them according to whatever your niche is, right? So I'm just saying, don't be scared by the people that tell you no. You should be just waiting for the people that are going to tell you yes. Okay, so let's talk about, some considerations. I've got 5 considerations here that you should be thinking about when charging fees. So hopefully we've had, just give me some love or tell me, I got it if you understand the value of why your business needs to charge fees, right? Hopefully there's not somebody out there who's like, nope, I don't need to charge them. I don't know what you're talking about. Hopefully you guys get it. Like you get why you need to charge agency fees. And I gave you 5 different types of agency fees. So I'm not even talking about just the agency fee on planning and designing, right? The first one, all of y'all should be charging that. But I'm talking about additional service fees, right? Or fees that you should be charging in your business. So I mentioned change fees, right? So people make a change to their booking post you sending out the confirmation, the 15 emails of confirmation that says, I got it, I'm booking it, I'm booking it, I'm booking it. If I book this and I apply your deposit, this is it. Because if you don't, I'm going to charge you for changes, right? Right. I'm getting a lot of got it, right? So that's another fee. That's change fees, service fees for things that don't pay you good commission. You should be charging a service fee. Airline is a good example of that. But you could add it for hotels, resorts, whatever you want, right? That should be something that you should consider. I gave you markups, right? If your supplier gives you a great deal because you have done your due diligence and are aligned with great partnerships, there should be a markup that you should charge, right? If you decide to pass on that great savings to your friends and family and your clients, that's your business. But again, do it on purpose, not by omission, right? Make a conscious decision to say, I'm going to pass this great savings on, but don't do it because you don't know about it or you don't think about it, right? I just saw one of our suppliers that just did a training inside of first class membership. Ocean is doing like $62 per person per night, like at all of their resorts. Like that's an amazing thing that we get as travel agents, right? And if you decide to pass that on, you can, but you certainly can mark it up. And that is fair game, right? So you're in the business to make money, right? I'm not saying that's your only business that you're in it for, but you certainly should make conscious choices to make more money or less money, not because you've omitted it and you haven't thought about it. Okay. So let's talk about the considerations. You're going to want to write these down. These are 5 considerations that you need to have when thinking about fees. So I've given you types of fees. I also did a training, not May, but maybe in April on multiple streams of income. Search that inside of the book. And I talk about, I think, 7 different streams of income that you can utilize in your travel business, not only to mention the ones that I just mentioned today. Okay. So now you know the types of fees that you should have in your travel business. Let's talk about what you need to consider in your travel business before you just start charging fees, right? The first thing is if you have a host agency relationship, you need to understand the terms and conditions of that. Most host agencies, if you are running, and I'm going to use outside agents because that is the system that I'm most familiar with. If you use outside agents and you run your fee through their system, they will take a percentage of that, right? That is in their system. They know about it and they will take a percentage of it. You need to understand your host agency's terms and conditions as it relates to fees. Okay, so I'm not saying just go out there blindly and start charging fees and you have no idea what contractually you're obligated to or cannot do, right? So your host agency's terms and conditions is the number one consideration that you need to have in place when charging fees. Now, the second consideration that you need to have in place when charging fees is the state that you live in, right? There are 5 states in the United States that have seller of travel requirements. And I used to know them off the top of my head: California, Washington, I think Florida is one of them. And I never can remember the other 2, but there's 5 states, right? All you need to do is look up seller of travel, look up if your state is one of those states, and there potentially is some language in the state law that says you can or cannot. However, if you've taken my agency fee training, you know that I talk about how you can get around that. But you do need to take in consideration state law, right? And I think Iowa is one of them. And then there's a fifth one, but there's 5 seller of travel states that you need to consider: California, Washington, Hawaii. That's it. You got it, Larissa. Thank you. So it's California, Florida, Iowa, Hawaii, and Washington State. Those are the 5 states. So if you live in those states, you need to be aware of the law in those states as it relates to fees. And then I would do some research, wink, wink, on liability exposure and what that means to you, right? So if you've taken my agency fees, I do talk about those states and what my discovery was on those states, but I would again ask you to do your own due diligence. All right, so that's number 2. Number 3 is, let's say you've gotten through all those things, those first 2 things, and you now say, I am free and clear. I've got a path and I'm free and clear. What are your terms and conditions, right? What are the fees that you will charge? What are the terms around those fees, right? So I've given you some examples of fees that you can charge. Cancellation fees. What are your terms and conditions, right? Are they clear? Have you communicated them? You can't just start up and charging fees and you not talked about it in your discovery call or in your process. You don't have that documented anywhere, because somebody's going to be all slapping you around and be like, I don't know anything about this fee. You just jumped this fee on me and I don't know nothing about it. Be transparent. Be super clear about what it is. So your terms and conditions need to be very clear about the fees that you will charge and when they go into effect, right? So number 3 is your terms and conditions. Number 5 is payment processing. If you guys, and I know some of you are with host agencies that tell you that you are not allowed to collect money, you've got to just make sure that you are going straight, you're taking credit card to supplier and you're not collecting money. If you're doing agency fees, you need to collect money, right? Because that is money that's directly going into your business account. So you do need to have some way to process those fees, right? How are you going to process them? Are you going to do it through PayPal processing? I will tell you, I personally am not a Cash App type of person. I know many people that use Cash App and they use it successfully, right? That's not my thing, but it could be your thing. But you need to consider it. How are you going to send an invoice? Are you going to ask them to Cash App you? What is the process that you're going to use to collect fees, right? So you need to be conscious of that. That's number 4 consideration. Number 5 is really an overall process. And some of the things that I wrote when I put overall process are the following: is when do you charge the fee, right? So different types of fees have a trigger, right? So for me, planning and designing fee happens at the beginning, that gets introduced on my discovery call. And I say, this is how much I charge. And they know it when they fill out my form, but they know how much they get charged. And they come to that discovery call already prepared to pay because I have it in my form. It's like the last thing that they sign in the form, right? So when do you charge your fee? How do you collect your fee? What is the collection process, right? And the communication process, right? So you want to make sure that whatever fee that you're doing, that you have a process defined that addresses all of those things. Communication is key. Transparency is key, right? You know how you are, right? If somebody doesn't tell you about fees and then you start slapping, 15 different fees on somebody, that's a quick way to lose a client for life, right? But be transparent about what it is that you charge for and what are the triggers that incur that fee, so that when it happens, people are not surprised. Make it a part of your terms and conditions. Don't bury it in, 2-point font so somebody can't see it and they're like, what, right? You should be proud, like, to charge. Like, you should be proud. Like, you shouldn't be scared to be like, I charge a fee, like, this. No, it's like, I'm on top of my game. I know my shit. And this is the fee. Bam. And shut up. Like, don't say anything. This is the fee for the designing fee. And, here's my process. And if you've got changes post this process, this is what you can expect, right? Command your space, know your process, know your stuff, and let your customers know. And, by golly, they'll fall in line, right? You'll probably have less changes if you tell them up front what to expect. They're not going to want to incur that, right? So that's 5. So type 5 if you got all 5 of them. Let me know if I need to repeat any of those 5 items that I said. But those are the 5 considerations that you need to have. And then we're going to talk about one last thing before I skedaddle out of here. So 5 things. Did everybody catch all 5? All right. Yes, I got a 5. I got another 5. Yes, you caught all 5. All right. So that's good. So the first thing I know you guys are asking me is, how much do I charge? That is the number one question that I get all of the time, is how much should I charge, right? And I know some of you who put zeros are charging $25 for your planning and designing fees. And this is a time that we say it's time to raise your prices, right? It's time. I want everybody to write either on a piece of paper or in chat, it's time to raise my prices. If you are charging $25 for your planning and designing fee, it's time to raise your prices, okay? And let me tell you why. $25 is pretty much everyone's standard for charging. That's the comfort number that we feel. That's a lot of people's starting number, and they feel comfortable with that. People don't feel invasive. But if you've actually designed a trip, right, that is normally more than just hotel and air, right, it takes some effort on your part, right, to do that. Some people tell me, oh, no, I can do a trip in like 15 minutes, right? Well, okay, that's great. So what? Doesn't mean they don't still need to be paying more for that, because the way that you do your process and the reason why you got to that expedient way to do that is because of your experience, right? There's some quote that I read that, you know, if it takes me 5 minutes and I charge you $1,500, you're paying for the experience that I had that it took me only 5 minutes to do, right? You're paying for the 20 years of experience and the know-how that taught me how to do it quicker, better, and faster, right? So somebody says, I love calling it a planning and designing fee. Yeah, I mean, call it for what it's worth. That's what you're doing. I mean, and Larissa, you're a prime example. Like, I know you specialize in, what is your destination? I want to go there. I can't remember it now. But you were like last year, you were posting all these pictures and you were going and you were visiting the properties, you were looking at the properties, you know your BDMs, you know everything about the area that you're going. You take time, you take money, and you take effort to learn the skill that is used. So the fact that you've done that work and you can quickly put together a plan for somebody. St. Lucia, that's right, Larissa, you're St. Lucia, right? I know that you're St. Lucia because that's all you posted about last year. Every single time you went on a fam trip or you went somewhere, I was like, Jesus Christ, I need to be out of the country. And it just looked amazing, right? So my point is that it takes you time to get that knowledge and get that expertise. So because you've got that and you've created that path for yourself, doesn't mean that you shouldn't charge because it only takes you 15 minutes to be able to put it all together, right? You should still charge for that, right? So it's time to raise your prices. You're worth more than $25 a booking. I will have to find the post, but Host Agency Reviews, which is a website that focuses on just host agencies and the whole hosting process and travel agent process. They did last year, they had an article about, people and every year they do a survey, and they do a survey of agents to see who's charging and who's not, right? I think they did 2019, and it was still right under 50% of people. I think it was like 49% people who are charging fees. This is right there at the cusp. Maybe it was 50 I remember it was right there at the cusp. But one of the articles, one of the people who successfully is charging fees, and I can't remember the name of the travel agency, she's charging, Caucasian agency, charging fees, more than 50% of her revenue is coming from fees, right? 50%, more than 50% of her revenue is coming from fees. You can structure your business like that. You just have to make a mind and a decision to do it, right? So you charging $25 isn't going to do that. And nobody said you had to do $25. That's a number that you picked, right? So I'm asking you to pick a higher number. Start with $100, right? Start with 150, start with 200, right? Because your ability to sell a planning and designing fee at $100 versus $25 is no different. It's all in your mind, right? Your ability to sell a planning and designing fee at $100 versus $25 is all in your mind. You can sell a planning and designing fee for $100 every single day if you make a mind to do it, right? Be confident in the fact that that is what you are worth for every time that you do. I'm not saying your number should be 100. I'm just saying it is worth whatever number you believe it to be worth, right? So if it's 150, if it's 200, I don't care what your fee is, right? Make it worth it, right? And it starts with your mindset. It starts with what is it that you do? What does somebody get when they get a design trip from you? What does that include? And are you able to say it confidently and follow through, right? So what I'm going to tell you is, don't go out there saying Sunday told me to charge for airline and hotel only. If all you're doing is airline and hotel and you're not really designing anything, maybe you should stay at 25. But if you are doing more than that, right, and you really are designing experiences for your clients, think about it. You should be paying, you should be charging more for that. Okay, so how much you charge, I'm not going to tell you that because I don't know what you do. I don't know what you include, what you don't include. But what I'm saying is you should be thinking about what it is that somebody gets when they get a design. How many quotes does that include? If your standard operandus is to give 3 quotes, absolutely, that's more than $25, right? If you're giving out of the gate 3 quotes just for people to choose from, how much effort does it take you to put together those 3 quotes? Right? I know many people, that's their standard operations, right? If you allow people to make changes to their original requirements, right? So part of that planning and designing fee is I'm going to give you 3 quotes. I'm not only going to give you 3 quotes, I'm going to give you 2 opportunities to make changes to any of the requirements. Posted that, so you'll have upwards of, X number of quotes that you'll get from me, right? Inclusive of that planning fee includes, X number of changes, right? It includes, A, B, C, D, E, right? So if you're going to charge $200, $500, again, I don't care what that number is, just be super clear about what it is that they're going to get, right? Make it an experience worth them pulling out their pocket. You're not going to have to. So when you're talking to that customer and you're talking to them and the discovery call, because the discovery call is twofold. It is to identify their requirements and then to make them comfortable that you can fulfill them based on your services. And it's to collect that service fee. I mean, that's what the discovery call is for. It's to identify their requirements, make them comfortable with you as a solution provider of those requirements, and to collect your service fee, right? Hopefully you guys get that. 3 objectives of your discovery call. So once you've told them, you've listened to them, you've helped them, get out on, out of their mind what experience they want you to design for them, then you sit down and you talk about, here's what it includes, right? My fee is $175, and these are the following things that you get, right? And you should expect this, right? And this is what will happen at the conclusion of this, right? So how do we proceed, right? That's how that works, right? So if you're taking my discovery call, you understand how the processes of creating that discovery call is, right? So this is what I'm talking about, the process. You need to be confident in your number. I can't tell you what that number is, but if you don't know what that number and you're currently at 25 and you're doing more than just booking hotel and airline, right? You're doing 3 quotes off the bat. You're going back and forth with them to change up stuff because you put on paper something they didn't think about, and they're like, oh my God, wouldn't it be great? Oh my gosh, you got a birthday. Can you also do a cake? Can you also do dinner for us? Can you do this? Can you do that? And then you incorporate all that in your changes, and then you're doing another quote, and you're going around and you're doing like 15 different quotes, and you're only charging $25. I'm going to say, stop, you're making me tired, right? So somebody wrote, so are you adding it to the trip or collecting the fee? I'm collecting it up front, darling. This is not, I know people who charge the fee and then add it to the, no, this is my money. It's my time, my effort. It comes up front. So before I even do any research, I'm collecting the fee. I don't do any work without the fee, period. I don't do anything. Now, I mean, obviously, if somebody's filled out the form, and because on my form it has a budget number, right, and they've put $1,000 and it's to some location I've never been, right, I will do some preliminary search to see what I'm working with, right? So I know the kind of things that I design and kind of the hotels and the stuff that I'm looking at. So I'll do some preliminary search so that I can be educated in the conversation when I walk into that discovery call. But I'm not doing nothing without the payment of that service fee. That is part of my process. So we have the discovery call, and I tell them my fee, I tell them what they get with the fee, and they pay the fee, and then I do the work. Like, I don't do any of the work, and I don't reimburse the work. Like, it's I did the work, you get the quote. So frankly, I'm not even hurt if you decide to take my quote and do it yourself, because I've already gotten paid for it, right? So a lot of you guys are out there, hurt when they don't take your quote because you're doing it for free. I'd be hurt too. I'm not doing nothing for free. I'm not in the business of doing free. Like, every single time I go to the doctor, I got to pay. I got to pay $20. I got to pay a copay, and I got to have insurance if I only want to pay $20. And there's been a time that I didn't have insurance, and it was $75. Every single time I went to the doctor, it was $75, right? You didn't care. Like, neither should you. Like, you're in the business of your business, and you spend time becoming an expert in your business. So, charge accordingly and do it confidently, right? I know, listen, I've been a travel agent now for 4 years. I think it's 4 years. 2016. This April made 4 years. And so I'm getting ready to tell you my story, but let me read this. I charge fees my first time booking. One lady said, never mind. It was a bummer hearing no, but she left me knowing I'm a business first, hurt and pissed. Yeah, you're hurt and pissed, right? Because you're doing all this work and you're not getting anything. Nothing's for free. That's right. So I've been in the business for about 4 years, but I remember, I lost my train of thought, which is, what was I saying? It'll come to me. It'll probably come to me tonight, and I'll be like, oh, that's exactly what I was saying. I guess, but all I'm trying to say is, whatever you charge, be comfortable in that charge, and just make sure that you can back it up. Oh, I know what I was going to say is, I know that a lot of you who are new travel agents are scared, right? So it's more of a fear thing. You feel like, I've had many people tell me, I don't charge a fee because I don't feel like I know what I'm doing yet. And I don't think it's fair to charge a fee. Well, you know what? The first time doctor still charges a fee, right? I mean, he's gone to school. So just all I'm saying is, you're a professional and you're still liable. So, even if you make a mistake and that mistake causes some error or omission and you're liable and you didn't charge a fee, you could still get sued. So I'm saying, anytime I'm liable and I'm offering up my advice as a travel professional, right, that comes with a price tag, right? My expertise, little or lot, comes with a price tag, right? So maybe you initially charge a lower amount, and as you get more confident, you charge a higher amount. But I don't want you charging $25 at the gate. And let me rephrase that. I don't want you charging nothing because you're fearful you don't know what you're doing. Now, if you're a smart business owner, you're going to take some time to learn your craft. You're going to invest some time to learn the suppliers that you're working with. Hopefully you have a mentor that you're working with so that you can get that confidence. But the point is at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you have experience or not. The first time you give advice, you give a quote, you're liable. Right. And so that time and effort that you spent putting together that quote, right, should come with some, should be an investment that's time and effort that person didn't have to do for you to create that quote, which garners a fee. Right. I want you guys, if there's somebody on the fence right now and you don't feel confident to slide in on this chat and post it, come in my DM and give me your 50 reasons why you don't think fees are, and I'm going to have a reason why you should be charging. I will flip that around for you, and I will give you the confidence that you need. But I'm going to tell you this. There is nothing under the sun, moon, and earth, if you are taking this business serious, that you should not be charging. And how much you charge, if you feel comfortable with 25 to start with, and then after you've been in this business and you realize the amount of work and effort, and not only it takes to do the quote, but to manage the booking until they come home, right? Because as many of you who experience COVID, you've got people who are trapped in their country or trapped and their airline flights are canceled. Who are they calling? Their travel agent. You are their advocate till they get back home, right? So all of that has service written around it, right? You are managing that booking until they get home. So when they get home, then you can not charge them, right? So again, you just need to be conscientious, make the decision on purpose. That's all I would have to say. All right, so some people are putting some comments. So let's see what they have to say. I am an event manager and all of our travel agencies charge $125 for name changes. Amen to that. So as Sunday says, consider all of this when deciding on a cost. This is so helpful. That's right. Thank you, Shayla. Shayla, hopefully I pronounced your name right. But that's the thing is you are worth it. I want you to write that down. I am worth it. I am worth it. This is not a hobby, ladies. This is not some fly-by business where, this is a serious business, right? 50%, I'm telling you, there are travel agencies out there where 50% of their revenue comes from agency fees, right? There are people who are charging monthly recurring fees just to have them as their agency on retainer, right? They have membership fees. So if you want to use me as your travel agency, right, there's a membership fee you have to pay, right? There's all sorts of ways that you can be creative with that. All I'm telling you is don't be slipshotty, don't be ratchet, right? And make sure that you're providing top end service for the fee that you do. Because the worst thing you can do for your brand is charge $125 and you're not doing really anything. So think about the services that you offer, the work that you do, write it all down, and then ask yourself, how much is this worth to myself? And whatever that number that pops in your head, start with that, and then we'll go up from there. All right, somebody says, state the fees that we should be charging. These are examples, but let me give you some. Okay, so somebody says an example for group travel, a group travel, like a group travel fee, right? $50. Like, I mean, for my cruises, it's $50. And now I don't charge that up front. I charge the group leader a fee for organizing their group travel. And then each individual person gets charged $50 per person that gets added onto the price of their trip. And I do that because I'm managing all those bookings. You've been in a group travel and you manage the bookings, and somebody's got to move rooms. They got to add uncles, nephews, brothers, sisters, and all that stuff. I mean, group, even if it's pre-packaged or not, when I'm doing a pre-package, I include an uptick on that price as well. That's included. And there's amazing creative ways that you can do that with cruise companies, right? You can contract to get the marketing fee and use that as your upcharge and use that. I mean, there's all sorts of things that you can do. The point is that you got to know what your suppliers will allow you to do, and then you can do it. So some of the fees that I mentioned earlier were planning, designing fees for fit and group, right? So if you have a group leader and you are working with the group leader, you determine, $200, $250 comes up to mind if I'm designing a group for someone else. If I am putting together and I'm getting people to buy in a group that I planned, right, then there is just that additional fee that I have for each person that buys into my pre-planned group, right? Another fee that I mentioned is cancellation fees. Another fee that I mentioned is changes to your trip post-booking. Right, so I've booked it, given you the last email confirmation, and had you sign on the dotted line, and you come back and say, I misspelled your name. Boom. Somebody's saying that their company charges $125. I like that number. Right, so another fee is service fees for suppliers that you don't get great commission. Airline is a good example of that. And I'm telling you, these companies, these online companies, if you've ever purchased with them, there is a service fee. I mean, I use Spirit like going out of style, right? And oftentimes I try to I am a member, so I pay $175 a year to be their member, right? Their $9 bag club, right? And then, so I'm looking for $25, right, to go to Washington, Florida, or whatever, right? Their service fees are more than the freaking airline ticket is for me most of the time on that, right? So yes, yours would be an administrative fee. That's exactly what it's called. So again, those are some examples. Let me make sure I caught all the questions that were here. But was this helpful to you guys? Did you guys like that? That's all I got. I don't have any more. Was this helpful to you? Do you guys now, the people who were ones, are you ready to turn yourselves into zeros? That sounds kind of odd, but if you were on at the beginning, you know what I mean. You are not charging fees, and you're ready to start charging fees. Are you guys ready to do that? Do you have the confidence that you need to do that? All right. Somebody just asked a question, so let me scroll down and see if I answered it. What do you think about late payment fees? Yes, I love them. Yes, late payment fees are a pain in the ass. I mean, late people who pay late, yes, are a pain in the ass. So yes, I think you should charge a late payment fee if you're doing payment plans. So, I mean, well, let's talk a little bit about payment plans. Payment plans, do you guys charge an upcharge for payment plans? Right? I mean, are you passing through your credit card processing fees to your clients? I do. Right? I'm not incurring that cost myself, right? Stripe charges me 3% and some odd number, right? And a fee for that. So 5% if you're using credit cards, and on top of it, if you're using credit cards and I've got payment plans and I got to manage all that, yeah, there's a fee for that too. Again, I'm not trying to say that you need to nickel and dime everybody to death. That's not what I'm saying here. I don't want you to walk away with that wrong message. But what I'm saying is do it on purpose. Do it on purpose. Somebody says everybody gets excited on Wednesdays. Yes, get you guys your extra coins. I love that movie, Jerry Maguire. It's one of my favorite movies, right? Show me the Quan, right? And in the travel business, we're not 30 years ago where, airline people back 30 years ago paid travel agents, commission, and commission was great. And you can make six figures on commission alone, and you can make six figures on commission alone. I'm not suggesting you can't, but this was in a time 30 and 20 years ago where people could not access travel themselves and they had to go to a travel agent, right? People can get basic travel needs done themselves. So when they come to you, they should be coming to you, not because you beg them, because they don't want to do it themselves. They don't want to have to worry about their trip themselves. They want somebody to call when shit goes awry, right? And COVID cancels all airline tickets and they don't know how to get home and they can't get through one. They want an advocate. They want a designer. They don't want to have to worry about it. I mean, that's the service proposition that you are providing as a travel professional, and you need to be selling yourself that way. So that comes with a certain, I want you to think of yourself as, you're not the base model. That's Expedia.com, right? When you think of a car, I'm the upper end luxury model, right? I'm the leather seats with the nice comfort padding suede when I move, the massage chair in the chair. That's what I provide my customers, right? It's the no worrying about their trip afterwards, right? I'm all the upgrades. I'm the upgrades. I'm the person who doesn't want to do it themselves. They come to me. That's why people come to you. And if you're trying to beat Expedia, you're in the wrong business because you can't, right? You're not the base model. You are the luxury end of this model, and you provide all that is with that luxury. So that comes at a cost, and those people who are willing to pay for the upgrades will pay for you. So that's my message for you ladies today. Heated steering wheel. Amen, TT. That's exactly what I am. I am heated steering wheel, leather. I am baby leather skin plush, I'm looking at a new couch, ladies, right? So, I'm down feathered stuffed couch. That's what I am, right? That's what you guys are. That's the kind of service that you're providing, right? And that's all premium. That's all premium services. All right. So somebody asked, if you use PayPal, Stripe, or Merchant, etc., they have processing fees. Yep. That is what we are talking about. We pass on to our clients to pay. We don't pay those out of pocket. Yeah, amen to that. No, pass it right on through, right? And, I use Travel Joy Travel Joy allows you to check that bad boy off. So it automatically calculates it right for you when you get ready to send them the invoice. It's beautiful. So somebody put, okay, so I'm just tying up the loose ends before I get ready to go. What kind of platform? I'm like outside of the vendor site. Travel Joy, that's one of them. I'll send you guys the link. When I get off here, I'll put it in the notes. So just look out for that. Travel Joy is, and if you use the link I give you, you'll get 50% off the first 2 months. And I think I get 50% off. So it's a win-win for us. You get to try it out. A lot of you all are in Travel Joy. I think TT gave me, she posted something. I think today's the last day for group travel. They've got a special going, but I like Travel Joy. There's Tess, which is another platform. There's another one I did last year, and I can never remember the name of it. But if you're using some, I personally believe that you should use something outside of your vendor's platform, because I don't want to be tied up if I decide to, change vendors, change host agencies. I want all my data to be intact. I don't want to be tied to anybody. I want to interchange suppliers, host agencies, how I feel without impacting my business, right? Everybody is a supplier and a partner to me, and I use everything so it doesn't impact my business. So Vacation CRM, that's the other one. Yep, Vacation CRM. All right, ladies, so I think I've gotten most of the questions. So here's something I wrote down that I want you to remember. How much do you think you are worth? That is what you should charge. And then we'll go up from there. So this is a mindset game for you. You are worth more than $25. If you're doing this business and you're doing quotes, you should raise your prices. I was talking to somebody last week and they said, no, I'm going to stay at 25 because that makes me competitive. I don't care what the competition is doing. Nobody does it like Sunday. Say it. Nobody does it like you, right? You are worth whatever you think you are worth, and you should charge what you believe you are worth. And those customers that believe you based on the services that you tell them that they will get will buy. End of story. All right. So with that, ladies, my answer is yes, you should charge fees. So that's what I started with. And the answer is yes, you should charge fees. If you watch this in the replay, do not forget to push #replay. Join me next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central, and we will be talking about another hot topic for you all. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening, and we will talk soon. Bye.